With Street Fighter VI selling well and Mortal Kombat 1 getting fans hyped for its upcoming release, this has been a great year for 2D fighting games. But what about 3D? Where are all the 3D fighting games? While it doesn't have a solid release date yet, Tekken 8 appears to be the next big fighting game to hit store shelves. And you know, that got me wondering what Electronic Gaming Monthly thought of the franchise. And not just Tekken, but also Namco's other long-running 3D fighter, SoulCalibur. Now, in case you're curious, EGM reviewed a total of 15 games in the Tekken and SoulCalibur franchises between 1995 and 2008. That includes not only the spin-offs and portable entries, but also the titles that were directly tied to those series, like WeaponLord and Soul Blade. While the magazine managed to hit pretty much all of the games in those two franchises, there is one big omission, and that's the very first Tekken game. They also missed out on every game released after 2008, so don't expect Tekken 6 or 7, or SoulCalibur 5 and 6. What we're gonna do today is count down the best and worst Tekken and SoulCalibur games using Electronic Gaming Monthly's own words and scores. There's no editorializing here, we're just going to focus on what the critics said back when these games first came out. So go and let everybody know that the soul still burns, because this is Electronic Gaming Monthly's top 15 Tekken and SoulCalibur games.
Sister, win. Cat flap, win. Secretary, win. Murdoch, win. Life, win.
Let's go ahead and kick things off with number 15, Death by Degrees on PlayStation 2. Don't hate Nina because she's beautiful. Hate her for taking part in this unpolished game. All of Death by Degrees' good points, like impressive graphics, entertaining sniper scenes, solid upgrade and combo system, unorthodox analog fighting that actually works well, are offset by poor enemy AI and one of the most user-unfriendly camera systems I've encountered in a long time. If only Namco had spent as much time perfecting the minutiae as it did perfecting Nina's body. Number 14, WeaponLord on Genesis. WeaponLord is loaded with cool concepts and neat characters. The graphics are appealing, and the voices are the best that Genesis can do. Now comes the bad part. The gameplay is really choppy, as is the animation. Even knowing the moves and the combos, the computer can tear you apart because it isn't slowed down by poor control. The animation is at most 3 frames. I expected more from Namco. The concepts are there, but the game just isn't. Number 13, SoulCalibur Legends on the Wii. Legends succeeds solely on its fan service, delivering a hefty chunk of backstory for its characters. As a standalone action-adventure game, it's an absolute mess. These Calibur stars deserve better than just wandering through countless crudely designed levels, dispatching throngs of mindless foes. Imagine Tekken's Force Mode, but expanded to an undeservedly epic scale rife with dullness and repetition. As for the haphazard motion controls actually working, I had just as much success randomly flailing my arms around. Number 12, Tekken Advance on the Game Boy Advance. Once in a while, I run into a game I really don't care for, but I have to give it credit for its technical prowess. While I'm not the biggest Tekken fan, that Namco is able to make Tekken's mock 3D gameplay work on the Game Boy Advance this solidly is impressive. Tekken 3 players should definitely look into this GBA version. It's got a lot of the same characters and gameplay mechanics. The only problem is that Tekken's fighting engine is so reliant on subtle punch and kick variations that scaling it down doesn't work so well. Many of these subtleties have either been cut or obscured on the small screen, so the game feels a lot drier than it should. Number 11, Tekken 4 on the PlayStation 2. I wanted to like Tekken 4, really. The problem here is that at the most basic level, Tekken 4's gameplay is simply broken. Punches have no reach, the collision detection is questionable, and sidesteps and parries are practically useless. Some characters have been neutered beyond belief, sorry Brian, while others are still trading on the same cheap moves they've had since the first Tekken. Yeah, you king. The pretty 3D backgrounds are only occasionally relevant since you rarely visit any interactive bits. Many people will still be able to enjoy this game, but it's time for the series to get a serious overhaul. Number 10, Tekken Tag Tournament on the PlayStation 2. Congratulations to Namco for making a really gorgeous fighter that visually dominates the genre. Shame on them for not revisiting the same choppy, restrictive gameplay that has plagued Tekken from the start. If Dead or Alive and SoulCalibur have taught us nothing, they've shown that 3D fighters can be as quick, smooth, and open to different playing styles as 2D games. Tekken must have been sick that day. Its giant bank of characters and lifelike backgrounds are nice, but that only goes so far. You'll adore this title if you're a Tekken fan because it's the best of the series. Leprechaun 2 is the best film in its series, but that doesn't mean you should buy it. Number 9, Tekken 5 on PlayStation 2. While not in the same league as deep, technical fighters like SoulCalibur and Virtua Fighter, Tekken 5 stands proudly as the best brawler for regular people. And the game offers so much quality content that even a hardcore frame counter shouldn't write it off due to its grubby combo system. Hell, it's fun to go slumming and the button mashing ghetto once in a while. Plus, it's hard to hate a game that looks this pretty. Add ample unlockables, the moderately enjoyable Devil Within mode, 3 classic Tekkens, an arcade mode's sweet character customization system, and this is a worthy buy. Number 8, Tekken Dark Resurrection on the PlayStation Portable. I traditionally begin my Tekken reviews by reminding readers that both Virtua Fighter and SoulCalibur handily outclass Tekken in every way. But hell, neither of those franchises have made their leap to the PSP. Until they do, you won't find a finer 3D fighter on any handheld. This port successfully puts the latest arcade revision of Tekken 5 in your pants. You'll notice a nasty visual downgrade, especially with the character models, but everything else survives the trip unscathed.
Right, Link, my friend, here's your goods. Should have given those SoulCalibur fighters a right stick. But that sword you're using, pardon my pun, ain't gonna cut it, mate. Toss that dodgy dagger and take hold of this.
The wait's over. SoulCalibur II finally puts the weapons back in your hands, featuring classic SoulCalibur fighters, new warriors, and over 10 modes of play. And exclusively on the Nintendo GameCube, Link joins the fun.
How about off price?
SoulCalibur II, rated T for teen.
And we're back with number 7, Soul Blade on the PlayStation. I'm a sucker for a good, clean fighting game. What I mean is that it's always fun to sit down and play a fighter that lends itself to 2-player fighting. The graphics in Soul Blade are incredible. I'm not one to drool over awesome intros, but Soul Blade has one of the best intros in the history of video gaming. What's nice is that once you play the 1-player mode, you can move on to the 2-player portion. The moves are simple, but cool looking. I like that. Soul Blade is a really fun fighter, worth the price. Number 6, Tekken 2 on PlayStation. If I'm playing a fighting game, I usually prefer something flashier, like games with fireballs and crazy combos. Tekken 2 doesn't have the former, but definitely has the latter. This game is deep. So many combos to learn with so little time. That's what gives this title its value, the long-term play. You might get bored playing it in the beginning, but if you stick with it long enough, you might just get hooked. Number 5, SoulCalibur IV on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I can't say whether SoulCalibur IV is balanced, but I can say this. It's a step up from the grossly overrated SoulCalibur III. Like that game, SoulCalibur IV is an incremental upgrade, more in line with the myriad of Street Fighter II revisions than a bona fide sequel. But unlike SoulCalibur III, this game is a graphical improvement over its predecessor. It isn't subject to the glaring slowdown problems or untenable load times. It's SoulCalibur in high def. If you loved it then, you'll love it now, and you won't get quite so annoyed with it. Number 4, SoulCalibur III on PlayStation 2. SoulCalibur III makes a valiant effort to hook fighting game non-fans with its collection of distractions, but I'm afraid there's not a lot here to keep them hooked for long. What, me worry? Fighting games should be made for the hardcore, and thankfully SoulCalibur III has plenty to offer returning fans. Changes to the basic fighting system are negligible. The real changes come in the new moveset and character balance. I won't whine about the lack of online support, but let's just say I anxiously await SoulCalibur IV. Number 3, SoulCalibur II on PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. Sure, Virtua Fighter 4 may have the superior single-player mode, but SoulCalibur II still beats most fighting games in the solo play department. It doesn't really matter anyway, SoulCalibur II can stand on its Versus game alone, it's that good. It's beautiful, it's deep, and offers many characters that play so differently from each other. If there's a sharper looking console game than SoulCalibur II, I haven't seen it. Although the new arenas lack the ambitious scale of, say, Dead or Alive 3, they're anything but flawed. Small stages keep tactical players sharp, and the larger levels give newbies a needed break. What's wrong with that? Number 2, Tekken 3 on the PlayStation. There have been some classics in the past year, but Tekken 3 just oozes quality from every beautifully crafted pore. The graphics are exquisite, the character design better than ever, the moves graceful while fearsome, and the control system is near perfect. Add the wonderful secret bits and you have a thoroughly rewarding experience. Worth buying just to see Eddie perform. It's the most graceful thing in PlayStation history. And finally, at number 1, SoulCalibur on the Dreamcast. There is no better 3D fighting game on the market right now, period. The controls are unparalleled. The game is very balanced no matter which character you pick. The fighting engine is unbelievably deep yet intuitive and leagues better than Soul Blades. The hidden goods are well worth opening up and much more rewarding than a force or ball mode. And to think, this is first generation software. Buy this game. It's absolutely amazing.
Best range of weapons in beat-em-up history. SoulCalibur II.
Hey, thanks for watching me count down these 2 franchises. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post episodes just like this one almost every week. There's a whole playlist featuring Mario, Sonic, the Mutant Turtles, Batman, Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star, Bonk, Ninja Gaiden, Grand Theft Auto, and dozens more. Now, here's the question I have for you. Which is better, SoulCalibur or Tekken? Oh boy, it's a real fight. So I can't wait to see who comes out on top. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with more stuff. Well, yeah, wait for that. I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Till then,